Welcome to the Dangerous Man Podcast, where we talk about how to become a better man, take responsibility for our mission, create value for others, and the many failures and lessons we've learned along the way. Stay dangerous. Ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls, but really just the men. Welcome back to the Dangerous Man Podcast. This is your host, John Kostohris, joined by co-host
Adam Thooft. What's up, boys? Or should I say men?
What is up? I probably say this every time, but I have a personal favorite topic today. And essentially, it all starts with this man named Theodore Roosevelt. For those who don't know, you probably do, though. Theodore Roosevelt Jr., often referred to as Teddy, or by his initials TR, was an American politician, statesman, soldier, conservationalist, naturalist, historian, and writer who served as the 26th president of the United States of fucking America. Let's go, boys.
Yeah.
From
America.
1901, from 1901 to 1909. Wow, that says a 8-year, 2 terms as president. Yeah. Man, that's pretty awesome. Right at the turn of the century. Anyways, this excerpt that we're going to play is from a speech he gave, a very famous speech he gave in Paris, France, after he had done a bunch of international travels and some different. He did a lot of cool stuff, but I don't exactly remember what he was doing in the area. But he ended in Paris, France, with a speech called "Citizenship in a Republic," and many of his philosophies came out in this speech, and we want to just play that for us. And Adam and I have a whole bunch of thoughts that we want to dive into with this. And yeah, we're just going to roll right into it.
The poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer. There are many men who feel a kind of twisted pride in cynicism. There are many who confine themselves to criticism of the way others do what they themselves dare not even attempt. There is no more unhealthy being, no man less worthy of respect, than he who either really holds or feigns to hold an attitude of sneering disbelief toward all that is great and lofty, whether in achievement or in that noble effort which, even if it fails, comes to second achievement. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again. Because there is no effort without error and shortcoming. But who does actually strive to do the deeds? Who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who, at the best, knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who, at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat.
Yeah.
Damn. That's crazy.
I love this extended version of this speech. I know the part that most people are familiar with is referred to as the man in the arena. And it's like maybe a few sentences of that, but I love the context at the beginning with all this cynicism and wow, it's so much more powerful. Yeah.
It's almost like it takes a second to like take it all in because it's like crazy. Like I'd recommend a lot of the listeners like going back and re-listening to that speech because of just how like impactful it is. Like me and John have both listened to this like multiple times. I'm like, wow, that wasn't actually like Theodore Roosevelt talking there. I do wonder if
it's probably what he sounds like in his own head.
Yeah, probably. I really want to know what he sounds like because I haven't actually heard any of his actual like recordings, though I think some of his words have been recorded. But
yeah,
just kind of some backstory on how much of a beast Theodore Roosevelt is. First off, like he wasn't like
dude, talk to me. Let's hear it.
He wasn't from the like get go like this awesome insane dude. Like when he was growing up, he had like intense like asthma. Like he couldn't sleep very well because he would like cough a lot. Now obviously he was like born to like pretty affluent parents, and I mean back in that day like that helped him out a lot. But like he wasn't like, oh, let's go get him and stuff. Like he was like very like ill and like he didn't have very good eyesight. But the man ended up getting into like more, like he found out like he could do more sports, and like by doing more sports that actually like helped with his asthma, weirdly enough. And the man got into boxing, dude.
Oh, come on.
He was a boxer, man. That's like that's like crazy. But he did so many like crazy feats. Like, there's like some stuff like I was like reading about him and I'm like, wait, that was him too? Wait, that was him too?
Wait.
What?
Just so I know, article.
Yeah.
We're reading about the same guy that I was about 10 minutes ago, right?
Yeah. It was insane because like, you know, this guy like grew up. He like went to Harvard. He from a young age, his hobby was taxidermy, dude. Like. Like he had a fascination with like biology and like naturalism and like how and like science and like how like you know nature worked and stuff, and that's kind of where we get to the point where like eventually he like helped found Yellowstone and like the national park system. So like anyone who likes hiking and outdoorsmanship has to like Theodore Roosevelt because he's kind of the reason why we have so much of it in America.
Yeah,
but not only that, but he also like was a huge person in making like the Panama Canal, like the planning for that and whatnot. So it's like that's like a huge thing. And you know the saying like speak softly and carry a big stick?
Yeah.
That's him.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, what? Like
I'm sure like people have like there's probably like billboards and gravestones and like inscribed upon buildings that quote.
Yeah.
It's like from him, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just it like he even like gave like ideas for rules in like American football. Like the forward pass.
Wait. I was expecting you to be like, yeah, you know the sidelines, they're like they're 10 yards wider than they were. But like, no, like actually half of the game. Just passing forward.
Yeah.
Okay. He's watching a game.
Because like, American football was at one point like way similar to like rugby. But
just
then
a
like,
lot of running.
It's like a lot of running and they do like a lot of lateral passing and some kicking. But then like changed into like, you know, forward throwing, which is like the biggest part of the game now.
Hearing that Tom Brady should be giving Teddy Roosevelt a call and being like, bruh, thanks.
Pretty much.
My legacy is built upon the stick that you carried.
Yeah. That it's like really crazy like how much he did, but he also like went through like a lot of suffering too. Like he was made a widower pretty quickly because his basically his first wife died after complications with their first child. Like after like giving birth and whatnot. I think she had like kidney failure or something that I mean was at the same time. So and like apparently like he like wrote in his diary on that day like the light of my life is gone, which is like, okay, losing your wife, that's a huge like I can't comprehend how much that must suck.
Right.
So this guy went through like a lot of hard things. Now, obviously, like he did have like parents that like helped him grow up, and he did have like a lot of experience of like having a broad journeys and stuff and really seeing the world. I think that's kind of what helped shape him. And also because his father was also a very, very good man as well. And I believe the quote, I think I had it here. His dad basically when Theodore Roosevelt went off to go to study at Harvard, his father said, like, take care of your morals first, your health second, and your studies third.
Dang.
Which is like, dang, like, like his dad really cared about his morals and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. Like, and not only that, like, I haven't even said that, like, the craziest part about him, okay? Like, while he was president, there was an assassination attempt, and a guy shot him, and he was supposed to give a speech. And you think, like, oh, okay, he went to the hospital. No, he gave the speech. And, no, it was insane, dude. Like, I was like, well, who is this man? Like,
I'm just thinking like about that, Adam. Like the first thing that comes to mind when I hear that he gets shot and then finishes the speech is he's like, dude, he's freaking, he's writing about being a man in the arena.
Yeah.
And like enduring the shit of people like cynicism and critics and then he's just like, all right, there's no way that I could, show weakness. Like, I'm a leader. I want to finish this damn speech, and people are going to see me be a strong man. You know,
you want to know what his opening line of the speech was?
Wait, so he got shot first, then delivers.
He got shot first, then he started the speech.
Let's hear this opening line.
His opening line was, "Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know whether you fully understand that I have just been shot, but it takes more than that to kill a bull moose."
Dude, this guy's a fucking legend.
He's basically like, hey, I'm not coughing up blood, so the bullet couldn't have gotten into my lung.
Wow. Wow, dude.
So, like, it's just insane, dude.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, man. Like, the more I read about this guy, it's just like, what? And I mean, there's a reason why he has a mountain with his face on it, Like, he's one of the 4 big guys on Mount Rushmore there.
Dude, I mean, come on, after everything we've said, like, it's like, yeah, I mean, he won the Nobel Peace Prize and stuff, and like, they're throwing his face on a mountain. Like, there's a lot of really successful people out there, but this dude, I think what's one thing that really inspires me about Teddy, before we really move more talking about the address he gave, is that he ventured out on, like you said, like he had some things against him with, was it asthma, you said?
Yeah.
And
asthma, poor eyesight.
Yeah.
Which, like, poor eyesight back then, like in the early 1900s, was way more of a affliction than it is now. Like, now you can get LASIK, you can get contacts, you can get really good glasses. Back then, like, yeah, they had glasses, but they weren't nearly as good as they are today.
Yeah. And it's, kind of what I'm thinking with him is he just cared a lot about society.
Yeah.
And a lot about other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of greatness, like, I'm all about greatness with wealth. I'm all about greatness with a successful business. And there's another dimension, though, to greatness in your masculinity.
Yeah.
That he brings that I think is so good. It's like, come on, let's talk about also greatness of, like, wow, beauty and nature of the world. And like at a time in our country when there was still so much that was not developed, and he's going out and be like, let's just start the first like conservation of land for people to go and visit in this national park in this beautiful area. I'm like, I don't know if you know, guys, but it takes a ton of work to like, one, scope out an area and map it out, but also to be like, to preserve that and to keep the maintenance going so that people can come and visit. And, all the logistics of let's set up budgets in our country to care for this. Like, let's set up whole divisions, the DNR, and, like a lot of that happened over time, but it's an incredible like thing that a gift that he gave to us to continue to be a part of, see nature and see our world and the beauty of it and be able to be in touch with that as a country is so awesome. And, let's literally let's dig a canal and create a body of water through a country. Like you look at a map and Panama looks pretty small, but it's a ton of miles that they're literally moving brick and earth to an incredible depth for these big ships to go through. I mean, I remember learning about the Panama Canal. I was going to say like the Banana Canal. And in school, Adam, and it was just like, whoa, this was not an easy project,
No.
And I guess what I'm just kind of getting at with Teddy is some of the things that's like, this will benefit trade routes. This will benefit society. This is something that's never really been done before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a dreamer, and I'm a strong man, and I'm a leader.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do things that are important and are legendary and impact people. And I'm not really afraid of not having, it hasn't happened yet. And it's easy to be like, oh, of course, because he was a president or he was a leader. But I think as a man, to realize that literally he took ownership of his life, and he took ownership of the ability to dream and the ability to rise above his circumstances to a place of leadership, and to use that to the benefit of others, and to this like accomplishing really, really profound and incredible things. And that's the man that we are talking about with this speech. That's the context of these words. Peter, in one of our podcasts, Peter Jengdahl said, him and some of his mentors, it's like, I listen to actions, not words. And so to hear all the actions of this man and then to see these words, it's like, okay, yeah, you have the credibility to say these words to us.
Yeah.
But with that said, unless you had something, Adam, in mind, I was thinking we could dive into that speech a little bit more. Maybe pull some stuff out there.
Just a little bit more about Teddy.
Go for it.
He assumed the presidency at age 42 because I believe the president before him actually died. Like he wasn't elected to presidency immediately. He was a vice president.
Oh, he took over for someone.
Yeah. And
he took over for president who died.
Yeah. But he was at age 42, who is still he's still the youngest person to like become president. So like,
wow.
There's a reason why his face is on a mountain.
He's done
like
to say another incredible first and to defy odds of being young.
Yeah. Like, sometimes like I thought, like I listened to this speech that he gave and I'm like, this is awesome. And then I read about his life and I'm like, damn.
Dude, yeah. It's the line, there's a lot of lines that jump out in this speech. One of them that really hit me, Adam, is the poorest way to face life is to face it with a sneer. There are many men who feel a kind of twisted pride and cynicism.
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. What does he mean by cynicism, do you think?
Yeah, so I actually looked up the definition of cynicism, and here's what I got. It says a inclination to believe that other people are motivated purely by self-interest. And it's a sort of skepticism. Maybe a sort of I don't believe the best intentions of other people. I believe, worst intentions in other people. The way he uses it, yeah, right. The way he uses it in this quote is this sense of people are always, what I take away of it, there are a lot of people that tend to take a pessimistic and, cynicism is another way to put that, approach and view of the world than others. But what he says is like they take a kind of twisted pride in that. Like if I were to go and do something great and you'd have all these haters and naysayers basically being like, oh, don't do that. Other people don't do that. Oh, like, why would you go start a business? Or why would you go, why would you dig the Panama Canal? Why would you start a national park? Like, why would you do a through hike, for hundreds of thousands of miles across the country? It's like, oh, that's not what everybody else does. And it's like, the reality is some of the greatest men in the world were not the 98%.
Mm-hmm.
They were the 2%.
Yeah.
And they had a ton of cynicists just ripping on them and shredding them down. And they had to not only do the feat, but endure that cynicism. And yet it's not just that others are chirping away like that, but that they actually that is the way that they look at the world. That's the way they live. That comes out of their heart, and that's their perspective.
Yeah.
And if you challenge them on it, they actually would push back because they like he said, they take pride in it. And that's sad.
Yeah.
That's sad to me.
And you can imagine how much cynicism Theodore faced if he's having a guy shoot him, to assassinate him.
Talk about haters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk about cynicism. And, it's anyways, that's one part that really sticks out to me, and I don't know if you have some thoughts on that, David, Adam.
Forgetting my name.
All of my roommates just.
It's been a long day.
I really haven't seen Adam since last night. It's just been ages ago. I hardly know the guy anymore. No, so Adam, is there anything else there that kind of strikes you, Adam?
Dude, I just think
other parts of
when it comes to people taking pride in their cynicism, I think it's like, oh, I can point out your flaws, therefore I'm better than you. Where it's like, I think most people are very, very aware of their flaws. I definitely know I'm very aware of my flaws, and then there might be some flaws that I'm unaware of. I'm sure there are, but I am aware of a lot of my flaws. So almost when people point them out, it's just you're not helping me. I think a lot of cynicists actually think that they're helping somebody by pointing out their flaws.
Right.
And a lot of the time those people already know their flaws. Now, sometimes flaws do need to get pointed out, and some people need to be oh, hey, this is a flaw. You should work on it. I want to help you work on it. That's better than just being hey, you have this flaw, right? No shit.
Wow. Did you know you're tall? Yes.
Or hey, it'd be almost someone be with Theodore in that speech being hey, you're shot. Really?
You don't say. That's why you could say he's got the what? He's got the stature of a moose or whatever he said.
Yeah, a bull moose.
A bull moose.
Dude, mooses are freaking huge, dude.
Can we talk about moosing for a second?
Dude, moose are massive, bro. They're related to deer, but they're the biggest version of a in the deer family. I don't actually know what it's called. But they're massive, dude. That a moose can freaking make contact with a car, total the car, and the moose is perfectly fine.
On that note too, it's I've heard it said, I'm a wilderness adventurer myself. I'll say it that way. And I love hiking in the outdoors. And one thing that I hear a lot is bear or moose.
Which one would you rather run into? Or which one would you more terrified to run into?
In the wilderness. And, okay, we could go into all the grizzly bear and, some of the, what's that R-rated movie with the grizzly bear that tears a guy to shreds? I don't even remember. Crazy movie. Anyways, but most people that I've run into in Minnesota said definitely the moose is what I would not want to run into. It's hey, if you see a moose, go freaking climb a tree. Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Because they can be a bit aggressive.
Especially the bull moose.
They will, yes. And they will charge.
The ones with antlers? The massive antlers?
Yeah, the one that looks like a moose.
Yeah.
They'll charge you. And so, most black bears, brown bears, you can make a little bit of noise and they're going to actually run away. A grizzly, okay, it's a bit different, but moose is in another level. It's kind of what I'm getting at. And
yeah, it's
anyway,
crazy.
to refer to himself as a bull moose, that's a guy who knows the outdoors. You know what I mean? That's a dangerous man. You know what I'm saying? Mooses are dangerous. To get into the other part of the quote here, Adam. And he goes on, and it's not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong man stumbles. We're kind of talking about, that cynicism, right? That person who's thinks he's helping others, even, as you said, Adam, right? Or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. And he says the credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena. I don't know about you, Adam, but when I hear in the arena, I either think like a gladiator, or I think one of my favorite visuals is boxing, actually.
Yeah, boxing. And it's so crazy because Theodore Roosevelt was a boxer. So I think that's probably where he gets that, like, I think the whole, like, the part of it is like, I think it is like a boxing reference too. And I think that's where he's kind of pulling it from, because he is a boxer.
Yeah. Right. And how easy is it for the people in the audience to basically be like, oh, you're not doing well, you're getting beat up. It's like yeah, I'm boxing. Why don't you get the fuck in here and give it a shot, okay? Yeah. You think you'd be any better? Yeah. That's kind of what he's getting at in this quote. Just real quick, I looked up how big let's hear it. A moose is. An adult moose at the shoulder can be up to 6.9 feet tall. Almost 7 feet tall at the shoulder. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Imagine Yao Ming, and then there's a head on top of it, a moose head. And then obviously that's just the height, and it's got a whole body. That is massive, dude. They can weigh as much as 1,400 pounds. Wow. Yeah, and then, like, I want to remind everybody, like I said, they will charge that 14-ton animal that's 7 feet tall. That's a straight up car coming at you. That's a bus, dude. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this man who's he's saying the credit doesn't, the credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, right? Whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, he says. The guy who strives valiantly, who errs and comes short again and again, because there's no effort without error or shortcoming. I love that line. Yeah, that's really cool. How many times, Adam, have you thought about, like, success? Have you thought about getting into life and thinking that there could be, like, an effort that doesn't have shortcomings? Like, do you often think, oh, I could do this perfectly every time? How do you approach that? I don't think there's anything that I approach where I'm like, oh, I can do this perfectly. That's good to hear. It's more like, I'm going to just do this and figure it out as I go along, and I'm probably going to fail a bunch and then figure it out. It's just like how big's the failure along the way? Like, when you're troubleshooting for, like, figuring out, like, how to make your computer work after it's broken, the failure that you can have is not as much. It's like, oh, I went down this rabbit hole of nothingness that doesn't fix the problem, but doesn't make anything worse. And it's like, that's not really much of a failure. But, like, if in business, you can have, like, a bigger failure where you're like, hey, I invested all this money into this business, and then it just kind of flopped and I went bankrupt. So. Right. Yeah. And it's interesting because with those failures, it's, I mean, when I was a kid, I certainly, the reason I ask is, when I was a kid, I certainly was like, oh, like, I think I can do all these things well. And then as I've grown older, I've realized, failure kind of accompanies everything. Yeah. And what I love what he's saying here is, let's just acknowledge that there's no effort without error and shortcoming. I find it so interesting. He just really makes it clear to us. I find it so cool that he says his face is marred with sweat, blood, who strives valiantly. And then the next two words are who errs. Dang. Yeah. And comes up short again and again. Yeah. Like, let's pause here, because I think we want to give this some weight. We just talked about everything that Theodore Roosevelt had done. Panama Canal, Yellowstone, face on a freaking mountain, Nobel Peace Prize, all, on and on. And he's obviously had successes. Yeah. He's done great things. President of the United States. Yeah, freaking president. And, like, we think of him as a legendary one. Yeah. And he's literally the first thing saying is, like, yes, you're going to strive valiantly, and then you're going to err. It's like, yeah. Well, if those are your successes, let's hear about your errors, because, and I think he just didn't care. It's going to happen. I know. But this is like, I'm in the arena. Yeah. I'm going at it. I don't care. Like, you don't get to that kind of success, Adam, those kinds of feats, if you're not having people doubting you. and like vocalizing that doubt and shooting you and literally.
Man literally got shot.
And so, but yet he strives valiantly. There's some other parts you want to go on, some of these other parts, Adam?
Yeah. I feel like I need to find more of Teddy Roosevelt's heirs. I feel like it's technically when people look people up, it's more like, oh, the stuff that they do really great.
Yeah, it's like their Instagram feed.
Yeah. Part of me wants to know, like, how stressed out was he, like, when he went home after, like, trying to figure out a bunch of stuff with, like, you know, Panama Canal or like, you know, he was a big proponent of breaking up some monopolies and that were going on in the United States at the time, and like the stress and the pressure that would be applied on him by those people, and you know, the stress of getting shot.
Dude, yeah. I'm sure he's got some epic journaling happening.
Yeah, dude, I want to read this man's like journal, man. Like that's what I want. That's what I want in my life. But it's just crazy, man. Like to take this all in, like
it's a lot to take in. It's so good.
Yeah. Like I really like the part where he kind of goes after like the error and shortcomings, and then he goes back into like to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly. So I kind of hear that last part as like failing at a higher level, but before that, I really like the to strive, do deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause. Like enthusiasms, like he actually like knows things that are very important and he's very enthusiastic about, and things that are in great devotions, and things that he are devoted to and actually like putting himself into, and after like a worthy cause, off of like something that's very good and worthy. Like, damn. Like even me thinking about that is like, wow, like how do I be like this man? You know, like,
yeah.
Even like the man in the arena that Theodore is talking about.
I'm just imagining Theodore Roosevelt sitting down with you. Imagine this, guys. Let's visualize you're sitting down with Theodore Roosevelt. And
you see his little spectacles and his
wonderful
voluptuous mustache.
That's good. Yeah, it's good to say mustache.
Yeah.
And, you know, based on what we just read here, he's just going to ask you, what are the great enthusiasms and the deeds that you strive after because of them in your life? Imagine that man sitting down and asking you that. And he wants to know, what great enthusiasms are you pursuing after in your life? And while it could be easy to hear that and to be kind of shameful, I know we'd mentioned this in a former episode, this, wow, I'm not there and I'm shamed. It's like, no. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. What are you passionate about, men? What great enthusiasms do you have that in your lifetime you have an opportunity to actually strive to do the deeds and to know these great enthusiasms? Maybe you don't even know much of what really compels you in your life. And we can sit back and take the role of the cynicist. We can just become mere spectators in the arena watching the boxing match because it's easier, because everybody else is doing it. And yet, what value does that bring to others? What purpose does that fulfill and you living a life of fulfillment. And what are those things in your life that do give you life?
Yeah.
Who are the people that you want to run with towards a goal? Run on a mission with?
Yeah. And maybe some people listening to this don't have like those good men that they can actually like run on with. I just challenge them to go find them. Like, yeah, the people that you might be talking to may not be like bring these things up to them. Like, be like, hey, like I want to be striving to be a great man. And I think like sometimes like me and John will talk about having great wealth and stuff. And it's like, well, why do you want to have great wealth? Is it just so you can like, drive a nice sports car? Which, I mean, like for me personally, it's like, yes, I want to be able to drive a nice fast car. I want to go zoom,
Yeah.
But it's more than that. Like I think one of my great desires of being able to have money is like be able to have a family and not have them worry about money. Or they're worried about like, oh no, like are we gonna have to like decrease our lifestyle because dad can't make it happen kind of thing.
Right.
Like that's what I desire, because that from talking to some people who are married, because I am not married yet, finances is a very big part of marriage in talking about, and it's actually one of the big reasons that's posted for why people get divorced. So like, well, if you have that be a non-issue, that definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah.
Now obviously like I would be like I would want to be in the position where it's like I do make a bunch of money, but then like with my future wife, I'd be like, so what if would you still love me if I was like dirt poor? Like so then if
you still be on my team, my love.
Yeah. So then if I lose it all, like I don't lose her too,
Yeah, we're not saying you should go get a gold digger. Quite the opposite.
No. No. And the thing is like back when in Theodore's day, like this man lost a wife, like she died. And that's huge. Like now I think men are more afraid of losing their wife in divorce than they are in death.
Right.
So, and I think that can make some guys a lot really afraid of marriage too. But I think it's just like, hey, you just have to find a real good woman.
Absolutely.
And
to, I'm sure Danny can talk more about this if he comes on again because he's married, but to fight valiantly for her.
Yeah.
I think people, they give up on each other and they leave the marriage not feeling like, perhaps they don't feel like they've lost each other. They just are like, good riddance.
Yeah.
And that's almost sadder.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a great sense of love and connection and devotion.
And you're going to err and you're going to come up short again and again because there is no effort without error or shortcoming.
Yeah. Yes. And what Teddy is saying is he's giving permission to us men to be the man in the arena.
Yeah.
Even if we don't really know what that looks like for us, even if he's giving permission for us to spend ourselves for a worthy cause.
Yeah.
And, he's basically saying, to conclude here, like, I'm just going to read the last couple lines here. And he's saying to us, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement if we succeed. And who at worst, if he fails, he at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Guys, let's go be dangerous men. Let's go strive with great enthusiasm. Let's go get in the arena, get some sweat, blood, and tears, some dust.
Yeah, and at least know defeat rather than nothing. Like,
yes,
I'd rather know defeat than be bored, to be honest.
Absolutely. And to be able to have the respect of maybe not everybody, maybe the person that's the cynic, maybe you don't have their respect, but you're going to have the respect of the men that actually matter in your life, that actually would care about you becoming fully who you were created to be, who you're meant to be.
Yes.
And when we do this, guys, when we strive to become that man, I like to call that man the dangerous man. When we do that, we become fully alive. And sometimes we don't always feel fully alive. There'll be some down days. There'll be some days where we're literally in the arena, but at least we're there.
Hey, 1 out of every 10 days is going to be your bottom 10%, just statistically speaking. But you're also going to have 1 out of every 10 days, statistically speaking, will also be your top 10%. And to really just strive through that and like be that man in the arena. That's what we're like talking about. It's like, don't be afraid to get bloody, sweaty, maybe cry every now and then. Do what you need to do. Like if you need to throw something against the wall because you're angry because of how much you failed.
Yes.
Like maybe what needs to happen. You just keep doing the bouts. Keep being in the arena.
Bounce back, you know? There's no defeat that's not going to let you bounce back. And it's not the defeat, it's you coming back at the defeat saying, nope, yeah. I'm back, you know?
It's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you get back up.
Batman's dad. To quote.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne's dad. Well, guys, thanks for joining us today. And if you found this episode meaningful in any way, we just ask you to share this with one friend who might need to hear this today. You know, Adam and I really care about spreading the message of hope and of men growing to become better and more dangerous men. And so join us every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We'll be dropping those episodes. And subscribe so you never miss a moment. You've been listening to the Dangerous Man podcast. Join us next time. Until then,
stay dangerous.